This review is made possible by Napleton Mazda of Naperville. Napleton Mazda of Naperville offers a wide selection of Mazda products that will fit everyone's lifestyle. Start your new car search off right and visit them online at napervillemazda.com.
Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach and today I am driving a 2020 Mazda 6. Up front is a 2.5 liter inline 4 and down below is a 6-speed automatic transmission. Guys, I'm super excited to be driving this here Mazda 6 for a couple of different reasons. First of all, this is the facelifted version of this generation of Mazda 6. So I did review a 2017 Mazda 6, and as you'll notice, it looks slightly different. So they did do a facelift between then and now, and that facelift actually came in 2018. But the second reason I'm excited to be driving this here Mazda 6 is that I've actually been able to spend quite a bit of time with this car. The reason for that is that this is actually my loaner car for my personal Mazda 3. My 2019 Mazda 3 had to have some work done in the shop, and so this is the car that they gave me, meaning I've spent some pretty good time with this car and I have some thoughts on it. Now, before we get on to the rest of the video, if you guys are interested in selling your car, please click the link in the description below. Cashforcars.com will buy your car with a salvage title, good title, running, non-running, whatever it is. Please go support the channel by clicking the link in the description below. You can get a fast and easy quote for free, and they will pick up your vehicle in less than 24 hours. But let's get back to that 2.5 liter inline 4. It's the same engine you'll find in the CX-5, in the Mazda 3, in the CX-30, and it makes 186 horsepower and 186 foot-pounds of torque. Now, you can actually get a turbo motor if that's something you want to seek out. You're obviously going to pay a lot more money for it, but there is a turbo Mazda 6 available. It makes about 250 horsepower on premium gas. Regular gas, I believe it makes somewhere in the 220s. But this is the naturally aspirated 2.5, and it's all right. It gets up and goes. Like I said, it's the same engine across the board for Mazda, so my personal Mazda 3 feels a little bit quicker because it's a little bit lighter, a little bit smaller, but this still isn't a big schlub. It gets up and goes. You're going to be able to pass on the highway. I really have grown to love the 2.5 liter in its naturally aspirated form, as well as the turbo. I have driven a turbo Mazda 3, and it is an absolute treat. All right, acceleration test. Struggling for traction a little bit here in the cold weather. It's 36 degrees out. However, not the worst thing in the world. It's not the fastest thing in the world. It works. It definitely, you're going to get to where you're going. You're going to be fine. Like I said, paired to it is a 6-speed automatic transmission, and I like it. It shifts when I want it to. It's not laggy. It doesn't burble or pop or snap when it drives. It just feels like a good automatic transmission. Last but not least, this Mazda 6 is front-wheel drive, and unfortunately, there is no Mazda 6 with all-wheel drive. And I think that's kind of a misstep by Mazda because the Camry is offered in all-wheel drive. The Camry, I would say, is a direct competitor to this here Mazda 6. So I would have liked to have seen all-wheel drive. And of course, the lower-tier Mazda 3 sedan and hatch both come in all-wheel drive on their own. So I wish Mazda would have done that with the 6, but it's okay. So let's talk about the interior. We have quite a bit to go through in here. Well, in front of me, I have 3 main gauges. On the left is my tachometer, in the center is my speedometer, and then on the right is my information gauge. I'm cycling through a couple things here. I really like this information gauge. I think it gives you a lot of solid info that I would want while driving. Trip odometers, service, radar cruise, which yes, this car does have radar cruise control, which is absolutely awesome. I really like Mazda's system across the board, and I can see that in my right-hand gauge. Overall, I like the look of the gauges. I think they're clean, simple. They're a little bit outdated just because a couple of the other Mazda products are starting to move digital. So these do appear kind of mid-20 teens to me, which is fine for now. But if the Mazda 6 doesn't get updated in the next year or two, these will definitely start to look very dated. However, from what I've read online, the Mazda 6 is supposed to get a very big change in 2022. So be on the lookout for that. On the steering wheel, on the left, I have my volume options, voice commands, skip track, and phone options. And on the right, I have my radar cruise control settings. I like this a lot. Very easy, very simple, and there's no guesswork when using them. I like the overall feel of the steering wheel. I really like the fact that there is a hole in the center, because this is where I tend to sort of rest my two fingers while driving long distances. And so I like the overall look of the steering wheel. To the left of me, I have my traction control off and my lane keep assist off. On the door, I have my power mirrors, power locks, and power windows. Nothing really too crazy there. I do have this sort of brushed aluminum sort of styled thing up at the top of the door. It looks all right. I do have blind spot monitoring here in the Mazda 6, and it notifies me on the mirrors. So when someone is in my blind spot, a little icon comes up on the mirror warning me that someone is there. Then moving into the center. First of all, this is actually where the stop start button for the vehicle is. On other Mazdas, it's a little bit lower, but on the 6, they've moved it up top with the screen. I'm not the biggest fan of this. You know, it takes 0.001% more effort to actually reach up and press the button, and it always takes me a second to find it, but this is something you could easily get used to. But now we'll talk about the center screen. I have a very much love-hate relationship with this center screen. First of all, the things I hate about it is really just the Mazda infotainment system, the stock Mazda infotainment system. I call it the red bubble system. I think it's bad. I think it's atrocious. I think it's garbage. It's not very easy to navigate. It looks very outdated, and it just feels clunky and old, and I just don't like it. That being said, things I do like about this screen. First of all, the resolution is pretty good. It looks great, and it is a touch screen. So when the vehicle is in park, you can actually use it as a touchscreen. Now, once the vehicle's in motion, there's a joystick for that, and I'll talk about that a little bit later on. This is so you're supposed to keep both hands on the wheel, things like that, safety measure. But the last thing that I really like about the center screen is that the 2020 Mazda 6 comes with Apple CarPlay. Now, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto both solve the terrible issue of the Mazda infotainment system. The red bubble system is absolutely useless when you have Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. I am an Apple user, so that's what you're seeing here. And it solves all the issues I had with the infotainment system. My navigation is nice and crisp because I have Google Maps. All my music is right here, easy to navigate, easy to use, and I love it a lot. I was very frustrated when I first picked up this car because I thought that it didn't have Apple CarPlay. And the reason I thought that is that there's two USBs in the center console. We'll talk about it a little bit later on, the center console itself. But one of them is for the phone and connects to the center screen, and one of them is just for charging, distinguished by that little phone icon. Well, I just plugged my phone into the non-phone one, not thinking about it, and of course I couldn't use Apple CarPlay. So, just a heads up, if you're looking at buying one of those, plug your phone into the phone icon one and not the regular one. The reason I thought just any USB would work for Apple CarPlay is because in my own personal Mazda 3, you can plug into any USB and it puts on Apple CarPlay. The backup camera is nice and crisp for a vehicle in this segment, in this level, at this price point. I think it's a good enough backup camera. However, it does start to sort of deteriorate a little bit at night. It's not as good at night. Actually, the backup lights are so bright, it sort of blows out the middle. However, this is for every Mazda backup camera and pretty much every backup camera in this segment. You're not going to get a nice night backup camera unless you're really going to spend probably $50,000 or more. Down below the center screen, we have two vents as well as my hazard switch, and then we have our climate controls. The climate controls are nice, big, and wide. I like the knobs. They have great tactile feedback, and I like the blue and red sort of dull but LED lights for the temperature. Really like that, nice touch. And I do have heated seats. This will be a big factor later on, but I do have heated seats here in the Mazda 6, and I really, really like that. And overall, I think the climate controls are very easy to use. I do have dual zone, which is great. And overall, I really can't complain. Someone had an oopsie. Someone had an oopsie. Now we gotta talk about the center console. I do have a little cubby hole up at the front, which is nice. And then the shifter itself. The shifter looks good. It's pretty much out of every other Mazda. No real groundbreaking technology here, but I like it. I'm very familiar with it, and it feels good. I like the leather shift boot, things like that. To the left of that, you will find your sport mode button. And then I have a couple of very useful buttons. On the far left, this is my power parking brake, as well as my auto holding brake. This means when you come to a stop, you can hit the brakes a little bit extra hard, and the vehicle will hold itself in its current position. This is super nice for traffic, drive-throughs, parking lots, things like that. Very, very nice. I use this feature all the time. All the time. I absolutely love it. To the right of the auto holding brakes is the center joystick for the infotainment system. Great tactile feedback, feels good, feels nice, very simple and easy to use. It clicks right into place. I know what I'm doing without looking at it, and that's all I can ask for from a center joystick. I think it's really one of the best control systems for a center screen in a vehicle in this class, in this segment. I think it's better than Toyota. I think it's better than Honda, and I really, really like it. To the right of the center joystick is the volume control, which I really like that it's down here on the center console as opposed to up by the screen itself. I tend to use it in this location quite a bit. Now, we do have 2 cup holders, and we will do the big friggin' bottle test. And it sits on top, but it doesn't quite go in, so unfortunately I have to give the Mazda 6 a fail on the big friggin' bottle test. However, I like the fact that you can close up the cup holders, make it look a little bit nicer if you're not using them. But going off of that, because the cup holders are not up at the front of the center console, they're back here, it makes the center console extremely tiny. Yes, you do have an SD card input in here and a 12-volt outlet and your USBs in for the center screen that I mentioned earlier. However, if you look at the center console itself, it is very, very tiny. If you rely a lot on the center console for long drives, you like to rest your arm there a lot, it might become an issue. Before we get to the seats, I do have a sunroof, which is very nice. I'm pleasantly enjoying on this terribly overcast and depressing day. But let's talk about the seats. Like I said, they're heated and they are power. They are not memory, but this is not the top trim of the Mazda 6, so that's okay in my book. And I like the look of them. They're perforated leather stitched as well. I think they have a very appealing, very nice look to them. They look classy, they look sleek, and overall, I'm a big fan. But speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the 2020 Mazda 6, and this is a huge improvement over the Mazda 3. I mean, just leaps and bounds better. I have plenty of room to move this seat up. However, without it moved up, this is my driving position. I can move my knees. I fit back here really well. Headroom is okay. I probably got about an inch or two until I hit the ceiling. I'm 5'11". I have 2 vents back here. Something that can't be said about the Mazda 3. As well as I do have 2 cup holders back here, a little opening door that leads to 2 2.1 amp chargers. So I actually have USB chargers back here. Very, very nice, and that's not offered in any Mazda 3. And I get a little cubby here. The thing is, upper trim level Mazda 6s do come with heated back seats as well. That's where those controls would be. The nice perforated leather carries on back here, looks great, functions really well. And overall, this is a good back seat. If you need back seat space and you're between the 3 or the 6, go with the 6. I mean, there's no 2 ways about it. Backseat room, the 6 wins every single day of the week. Every day. All right, now we're on the back of the Mazda 6. First of all, look at just how cinematic this is. This looks great. But I'll do a little trunk review. These are the floor mats. Of course, this is a new vehicle, so they're back here. Plenty of space back here. I mean, really, really good space. I do have these nice little cubbies as well on the side for little things that are going to roll around. You can just place them right here, and I absolutely love that. You can pull this up. I do get a spare tire as well. And overall, this trunk space is really, really good. I'll try to keep it exposed because I know this snow is super bright, but this trunk space, really, really great. I would argue it's definitely deeper than the hatchback Mazda 3. It's not taller, but it's definitely deeper. And of course, those seats, the rear seats do fold down, so you can fit actually quite a bit in here. Really, really great trunk space, and I'm really, really happy with it. Now we gotta talk about the looks. First and foremost, I have to talk about it. This is Soul Red Metallic, and I think it is one of the coolest looking colors to come from Mazda, and to come from really any other auto manufacturer in this segment for quite some time. I think it's a very attractive color right now, but now let me switch to the night footage and I think it really pops at night. I think under the lights, in a downtown area, in a city area, I think it looks really, really good. And overall, I like the look of the facelifted Mazda 6. It has the bigger sort of front end like the modern Mazda 3. The rear end didn't change too much, but it's still noticeable. It's still different and still modern. And I think overall, the Mazda 6 is a really good looking vehicle. I was very happy to come out of my house today and see this sitting in the driveway. That was very, very cool for me to see. Speaking of exteriors, if you are legally required to run a front plate on your vehicle in the state or country that you live in, but you think it's too ugly, then click the link in the description below and get yourself a con plate. The con plate holder is a suction cup holder for your license plate that goes on the inside of your windshield. This means you can remain legal when driving around, but for pictures, for shows, it's easily removable from the windshield, so the front of your car looks its best. Click the link in the description below, get your own con plate, and keep your car looking good. Now, if you're looking to buy a Mazda 6 and you just wanted to see what the vehicle was like, what you're getting yourself into before you go purchase it, or you're supposed to pick one up tomorrow and you got those pre-purchase jitters that I definitely had when I bought my car, then thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. But if you're not completely sold on the Mazda 6, the rest of the video is for you. Because, like I keep mentioning, it's almost sounding like a humble brag at this point, I personally own a 2019 Mazda 3 hatchback in all-wheel drive. I've put close to 12,000 miles on it. I've owned it for about 5 months now, and I absolutely love that vehicle. And so now I'm going to compare and contrast these two cars because sticker price, these two cars are priced very, very similarly. I'll put the sticker prices of each vehicle next to each other so you can see the difference. The reason I wanted to bring it up is because I kind of feel like my 2019 Mazda 3 is actually nicer than this. Why do I say that? Well, my Mazda 3 has a digital gauge in the middle. It just makes the car feel a little bit nicer, and I can set it to just show digits instead of being a traditional speedometer like this car is stuck being. The second reason I like the larger display in the Mazda 3 as opposed to the Mazda 6. However, the Mazda 3 no longer gets a touchscreen. So if you really want a touchscreen, the Mazda 6 is the way to go. It's a small issue that can be changed. However, the Mazda 6 does not come with interior LED lights from the factory where the Mazda 3 does. And I think that makes the car just look incredibly dated. I like how the Mazda 3, you can plug into any USB and it goes directly to CarPlay. That's not the case here in the Mazda 6. One thing that my Mazda 3 has is the touch pads on the inside of the door handles where this car has traditional buttons to unlock the doors. I like that the Mazda 3 comes in all-wheel drive, the Mazda 6 does not. Now let's talk about what's better about the Mazda 6. Well, first of all, for the same price as the base model all-wheel drive Mazda 3, in this car, I get heated seats. My base model Mazda 3 does not have heated seats. I get a sunroof here in the Mazda 6. My base model Mazda 3 doesn't have a sunroof. However, those things can be spec'd onto a Mazda 3. It's just going to be for more money. But I think the biggest difference between the Mazda 3 and the Mazda 6 is the room. First of all, you saw that the back seat room was way better. Way, way nicer here in the Mazda 6 than the Mazda 3. The Mazda 3's back seats are nearly unusable if you're above 6 foot. And even me, 5'11", unathletic, I hate the back seats of my Mazda 3. They're too tight. They're too tight. Luckily, I don't have to use them all that much. But when I do, I always feel slightly bad for whoever I shove back there. So, Mazda 6 has way better back seat room. Also, the Mazda 6 has better front seat room. So, right now, this driving position, my knees have a lot more space up here than I do in the Mazda 3. I can move this seat further back. And so, if you're over 6 foot, especially 6'5", if you're upwards of 6'5", I really would not look at the Mazda 3. The Mazda 6 is going to be the way to go because this can accommodate taller people a lot better than the Mazda 3 ever could. And so, I know that's a lot to think about, but dollar for dollar for me, I have to lay this out. For me, a single, well, I'm in a relationship, but I just have a girlfriend. We've only been dating for 5 years, so it's not that serious. I'm kidding. I love you. What I mean by that is I don't have kids. I don't have a family. it's rare that I drive around more than one person. I'm usually just driving my girlfriend places. I don't need a back seat, so I went with the Mazda 3. Also, I live here in Chicago, and as you can see, there's snow on the ground. There's snow everywhere for like half the year. I mean, look at this video of my Mazda 3 next to a snow pile that's towering over it. And so, for that reason, I wanted the all-wheel drive. That's why I got the Mazda 3. And so, the Mazda 3 fits my lifestyle better. If you're someone like me, you don't have a family, you don't use the back seats all that much, and you want all-wheel drive, I would highly recommend looking at the Mazda 3s. It's been not only the best purchase I've ever made, but one of my favorite modern cars, and I'm glad to own one. And so that's why I choose the Mazda 3 over the Mazda 6. But everyone is different. Your needs are different than my needs. I think we can all agree on that. And so I hope this video sheds some light on those differences so you can figure out if those differences would better suit your lifestyle. And I hope that they do. I really, really do. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Napleton Mazda. Now, they gave me this car because my current car is in the shop, but I want to give a very truthful testament to Napleton Mazda. And this is just my honest, true opinion of Napleton, is that their customer service has been nothing but top quality my entire Mazda ownership. For instance, I brought in my Mazda 3. What ended up happening was my Mazda 3 door handles stopped working in the cold. There's like a touchpad on them to unlock, and you couldn't unlock the vehicle from the door handles anymore. You had to go to the key fob. A first world problem, I know, but I'd like to get it fixed if it was an issue while the vehicle's still under warranty. That's what happened to my Mazda 3. So anyway, I take it into Napleton Mazda. I drove into their shop unannounced, just a Joe Schmo off the street. And I was greeted by one of the service guys. His name's Joe. Real chipper, real nice guy. And I said, hey man, I'm having this issue with my car. He walked me through exactly how the system of the door works, how it knows when you walk up to it. He was telling me that it sends the signal, and then the car waits, and it's looking for a signal from the key back. It's this sort of call and response system, and that's located in the door. And the smaller vehicles have one, but the larger vehicles have two of the sensors. I feel like I went to Universal Tech Institute of Chicago. I mean, he walked me through the whole problem, and he said, absolutely no problem, covered under warranty, bring it back in, we'll get you into a vehicle. What kind of vehicle do you want? Mazda 6, great. He let me choose what vehicle I wanted to drive around while my car was in the shop. Absolutely no sweat. There's another guy named Dennis there. He's the nicest, absolutely great. And I'm sorry, there's another gentleman who was there when I picked up the Mazda 6 and dropped off my car. I don't recall your name, but again, just the most friendly service. The manager of the store, Anthony, has helped me get a bunch of cars to review. He's absolutely great. I remember he ran out of his office one time because the Mazda 3s were now allowing Mazda connected services. You could connect your phone to it. And I was getting just an oil change in my car, and he ran out with a printed out piece of paper, and he's like, hey, you can do this now to your car. And I was like, that's great. That's awesome. Thank you. You know, he thought of me, and he knew that I had the Mazda 3, so he wanted to tell me that there's this new feature for it, and he was very excited, and it got me excited for the product. To the point where we've actually bought 2 cars from Napleton Mazda. My parents, well, actually, they leased a Mazda CX-5, and then I bought my Mazda 3 from there. And I was talking to my parents last night about just how good the service was being. And my parents legitimately said, we think the CX-5 is all right, but we'll probably just stick with Mazda because they've treated us so well. So that's a very long-winded testimony of Napleton Mazda. I just wanted to get it out there, just being an owner and actually having experience with their service department, with their sales department, with their finance department. It's really been a 10 out of 10 experience so far. With that out of the way, huge thank you to them. Please go check them out. Their information is up on the screen, as well as linked in the description below. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe. I'd really like to. Take care, guys.